Welcome to the first episode of the Same60 podcast with myself, Jeffrey JGB146 Blake, and Seagrove.
Hello. How excited.
Yeah, all right. So we've sort of talked about what we're going to talk about, just a little.
Yeah.
Basically, I think we were going to start off with just a short little look ahead at the Paradox Rift format that's coming out this Friday. Have you been to pre-releases?
Yeah, I went to one. They had one on a Tuesday. We weren't able to go to any that weekend, but
Tuesday. So were there all of like 4 people?
No. It was maybe 14.
Okay.
So not great, but not terrible. There were a couple people there who drove over an hour because they're like, I can never play on weekends, and I saw this was so.
I mean, that's cool.
People I'd never seen before, so that was cool.
Yeah, definitely. My store sold out, which meant that I basically got to take home a booster box from the pre-release that I ran, and awesome. I pulled 0 EXs. So
what?
I mean,
from just like loose packs.
Right. It was like a booster box worth of loose packs. So I got 24 from running the event, and then had my own kit with 7 additional. So like 31. That's almost 32. But I got good stuff. I mean, I sold it all, but like I got a full art. All of the female supporters I got full arts of, and like secret illustration rare of Rika, and so like cards that were worth something. Although initially it was supposed to be like $120 is what eBay was asking, and I ended up selling mine for $30 by the end of the weekend. But prices fell on that stuff very fast. But I didn't pull any like usable EXs. Like I got a like Bombardier, which I know people are hyping up on Twitter, and all the stupid things like a Hoopa, but nothing usable. You got what?
I got Mewtwo.
Okay, so again, not usable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about things that aren't usable. What do you think is the most usable? What are you looking forward to actually like sitting down and really digging into and testing with?
Those are 2 really different questions.
All right, so answer either side, but just explain what and why.
So the thing I've been excited about for the most time is definitely gholdengo. It feels a bit like Zoroark, which I loved.
Sure.
The more I could go on and on about gholdengo, and I probably will.
Well, good, because I'm gonna help you.
Okay, yeah, I'll just start off by saying, it feels like Zoroark. It's got draw. It's got a good attack for 1 attachment, and it's just like a stage 1 with good numbers. So I think.
I mean, yeah, it's basically Zoroark GX meets Baby Blounds, and that's like awesome.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. So when it first released, or when we first saw it, I was so excited about it. I was like, this is like Chin-Pao and Zoroark combined, right? But it's not, because it does 50 instead of 60, which that's not that much, but like not a big difference. But the problem is you also have to have 1 attached that you can't discard. So if you're going to hit like a Charizard EX, you'd have to have 7, right? 350. But then you need 1 attachment, 8. So you end up needing 2 more energies than Chin-Pao would to knock it out. But it does have the built-in draw, and I still have a lot more. I have a lot to say about that deck.
Well, I mean, I'll say that I'll jump in here for a minute, because I've actually been testing it, and I know you haven't had time to test because you're still trying to like do the competitive thing in the current format until we switch over. But I have managed to hit numbers on like every level that I've needed to.
Okay.
All the way up to the 330, 350, like 300 to 350 block. Mm-hmm. And I haven't really struggled. Like most of those times, if I really like push for it, I could still get another energy or 2. Because you're rocking the quad superior retrievals and quad earthen vessel and all the stuff, right? So it hasn't been an issue for me yet. I know someone on a video about this complained that he was having problems with 1 prize, like he needed a 1 prize attacker, and he was trying to fit in because I had talked about it on the video, the possibility of using Skizzer from I think 151 that has the 1 energy attack that's 10 plus 50 for each Pokemon with abilities, which is pretty good.
I think that was from the one before, but yeah.
Oh, was it? Was that OBF?
Yeah, it's not original 151.
You're right. No, 151. I'm sorry. 151 is the Skyther you want because it's free retreat, and then it's OBF. It's Obsidian Flames for the Skizzer. But that's a pretty like decent attack, and with a lot of decks, there's lots of abilities in play. So that was one way we were looking to go. But as I've been testing, like 260 HP, it's not incredibly high, but it's chunky enough that a lot of decks struggle to hit that, and the ones that don't, you're outspeeding and out consistencying.
Yeah.
So it really hasn't been an issue for me. As I delved in further in the comments with the viewer that was struggling here, he noted that where he was having problems and needing a one prize attacker was actually just because he was somebody that he's playing plays Mimikyu, and he's just like, I need something that can get through this. And he ended up suggesting, and I fully support, running just the basic Zacian that has a 1 energy attack that KOs Mimikyu. And it's just like, all right.
10 plus 10 for each of your benched, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I've used it before in Dialga. So
okay.
It wasn't good in that deck, but yeah, I could see it working here.
Yeah, anything that cuts down on extra stuff you have to play that's going to take away from the main core. But yeah. All right. So you said you could go on and on. Yes. What else do you have to say about?
So, when I played Zoroark, I always wanted to partner it with. I like one-shotting things. So,
sure.
I played it with Mewtwo GX, and I played it with. But the main thing I partnered it with was the Salazzle that would burn and poison.
Yeah,
and then
I remember that.
Kukui and Choice Belt and then Seviper as well in Expanded.
Right.
So with Hypnotoxic Laser. So I think that's where this is pretty different because it comes with its own one-shot potential, where Zoroark you had to build around it that way. So I think the main question that I haven't figured out yet because I haven't put the time in is, do I partner this with just more consistency, like a Babero or Curlia or whatever, or is there some powerful ability that I want to put in here?
Sure.
Like to disrupt my opponent or make the deck in the game quicker or whatever. So that's the big difference to me. So when I first saw it, I thought Zoroark and Chien-Pao, and then I realized, well, it's not really Chien-Pao because you need more energies, and it's not really Zoroark for 2 reasons, the one I just mentioned, and then also it doesn't discard cards like Zoroark did, and I think that's a drawback, definitely a drawback. Zoroark had more consistency because you discarded and drew 2.
My experience has been that you don't struggle with one-shotting at all. I've been running it with a 2/2 Bibarel and then a Radiant Greninja on top of that.
The ninjas.
Yeah. And the Ninja seems good, but at the same time, he's sort of the draw that you don't want to have to use because you're already discarding energy. So other than in the early portion where it's okay, discard an energy so that I can actually get 4 off of the energy retrieval I'm going to use, you sort of don't want to discard more. Right. So it's he's good until he's not. But definitely Barrel is great because your hand shrinks down to nothing but your prize cards basically as you discard all the energy that you've managed to collect, and then
or you double down on that, throw in some more energy retrievals and Revavroom instead of a barrel. There you go.
I mean,
probably not.
I wouldn't mind potentially looking at some regular energy retrievals or something as well. I don't think Revavroom is the right way to go though.
Yeah.
Although the 1 extra card. But I haven't felt good the times that I've played it. And it's only been a couple of times because it didn't feel good. But the times that I played it with the Curlia engine, it felt like it was just too much discard because it's you have to discard with the retrievals and with the earthen vessels, and now you're discarding further with Curlia. It was you struggled more. And the biggest thing with Babero is any disruption is actually a hand refresh.
Right.
So that's less true, I think, with the Curlia engine.
Oh yeah, definitely. No.
I haven't been running it with the Squovit, but I haven't felt the need.
No. You probably don't want to move a bunch of energies to the bottom of your deck, or I guess I don't know if you're holding a bunch, but I haven't done it enough. But
sure.
Yeah. I want to have bench space in case there's something else I want in there, But we'll see.
I mean, bench space is hard because you do want to have a bunch of the gholdengos to, add their piece of draw to it too.
Yeah.
All right. So next, is there anything else that you've got your eye on specifically?
I have. Actually, I like klawf. I'm interested in klawf and seeing what it does.
You were the one who made me aware of that in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually saw I saw klawf, but I think I didn't see brute bonnet or something. And then Joe posted something about it from OmniPoke on Twitter. But
Okay.
that's my kind of deck too. Just like building up damage. It's sort of what I was talking about before with Zork. Like, okay, you get your base damage, and then you poison them, and then you increase the poison with Hisu and Radiant Sneasler, and then you increase the damage with Grant, and then you increase the damage with a belt or whatever, and you get to definitely two-shotting everything in format, and you can one-shot a lot of two-prizers as well. If you hit it, it's a puzzle to figure out. I have a few lists of gholdengo and I have a list of klawf, but I haven't put any time into them.
I haven't
Refining.
tested klawf at all. Like you were talking about it a little bit, and I was just like, oh, that sounds really neat, and then I just kind of moved on.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I think that's kind of what it is. Like I think that it's probably the best deck that no one is paying any attention to,
yeah,
and it'll be
yeah.
interesting to see where it goes.
DTE makes its math a little bit awkward, so I think getting to finding the right acceleration, figuring out how you're going to get the energies on it is probably important. Or maybe DTE just does work, and there's just some other way to make it happen. Because I think it's 190, and then you poison for 200, and then 220 with the Sneasler, which is a great number, and then you have Grant for 250, which is getting close, right up there.
Yeah.
And then, like you can get 280 with a belt, but then with your DTE, you're going down to 260. So
I
we'll
mean,
see.
if all you have to do is knock out Iron Hands, you're well past your
Yeah,
necessary
I'm not
numbers.
I'm not convinced on Iron Hands. I think Chien-Pao is a really strong deck. Um, I think its weakness is not drawing well, and I think Iron Hands exacerbates that. So we'll see. I'm sure it's going to be decent and played, but I'm not afraid of it. I don't think it's going to ruin the game. I'll say that.
I definitely agree with you there. I think so. I've been testing mostly the like big, flashy decks.
Hmm.
So, Golden Go, Iron Valiant, Roaring Moon, and a little bit of different versions of Iron Hands. And what I found is that literally every other deck I'm testing is consistently beating Iron Hands. Now, sure, that I'm not playing single prize decks. I'm using like Evolution TM. By the way, for Golden Go, Evolution TM, turn one, yes. Like I know Call for Family seems like a great attack to start off the game. No, you want the Evolution TM.
Yeah,
But yeah,
call for families if you're in trouble.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I end up attaching that to. I play a one of Mew from Celebrations, and I end up attaching to Mew to get off that evolution attack. Since you have to only evolve two on the bench, it's like
Yeah.
why waste this by having it on a Gimmighoul?
Hmm. How do you get Mew act? Oh, you just play Switch or?
I play some Switch, I play some Escape Ropes, and I mean, yeah, sometimes that isn't going to be in the cards, and
Yeah.
if that's the case, then I don't use Mew. It's either going to happen or not. I don't. I definitely. It's not like a Guardy deck where I will attach to retreat off.
Right.
Like I'll accept what's in the active if I don't have a card to swap it around.
Mhm. You also were big into Iron Valiant.
Yeah, well, so I mean, what it is that I was big into Rapid Strike,
Yeah.
and Yoga Loop just makes me smile,
Yeah.
and so immediately Iron Valiant. You don't have to evolve. You don't have to have energy. You just have to have switching cards to get those pings in. It's not like Inteleon VMAX was, where
Right.
you have to wait turns to get there and stack up the right thing. No, you just like do it.
Hmm.
So like literally my first game testing Iron Valiant with Metacham, I pulled off a Yoga Loop turn one, and like I was going second, but turn one going second, and I was sold at that point.
Yeah.
I haven't actually tested the Rapid Strike version of it with Urshifu.
Yeah.
I'm kind of doubting. I have my doubts about that build,
Yeah.
even though lots of people are loving it, and that's kind of what brought Iron Valiant back from people's minds from being otherwise dismissed.
Mhm.
For me, I feel like Rapid Strike is has too low a damage cap,
Yeah.
and yes, Iron Valiant can help with that the same way it can help itself. But the 60 extra damage that you can get, or I guess 50 extra damage that you get, well 70 if you count the tool, right? So the 70 extra damage you can get off of Iron Valiant compared to what you can get with a Rapid Strike Urshifu, combined with the fact that you're a two prizer instead of a three prizer, like it feels better in my mind.
Yeah.
Plus Zaytu providing the acceleration and draw together in the non-rapid strike builds just seems more powerful to me. And I kind of like Iron Jugulus as well. He's got, his first attack is 3 energy, and it does 50 to 3 different targets that have damage on him already. And if you attach the booster capsule to him, because he's a future Pokemon too.
Oh, yes.
Then he gets the free retreat. He gets a buff in the now his second attack only takes 3 energy as well to do a straight 150 to the active. But with the tool, it becomes 170, and the 50-50-50 becomes a 70-50-50. If you're hitting the active. That with Zatu? Yeah, I have one of them in the Zatu build. Mm-hmm. I'm also playing a DTE to both, like instead of playing Rapid Strike Energy, I'm playing DTE so that I can use the Iron Jugulus or Medicham. I'm only playing one right now. And because of the damage reduction, I don't know that I want to go any further. But I did. Initially, I was playing a 2-2 line of Natu and Zatu, and I've upped that to 3-3 so far, just to more consistently get them out faster.
Yeah. And the Rapid Strike actually does look really cool, I think, but it does feel like it's so similar to the current Rapid Strike, where like you just have trouble against decks with high HP.
Yeah.
And Iron Valiant can actually swing for a good number, especially with the pings.
Yeah, that's what I've seen too. Like with the pings, hitting 280 is from scratch in a turn is believable and can happen.
Yeah.
260 is almost easy. So I was the first deck that initially was giving me problems with gholdengo was Iron Valiant, and then I don't know, I fixed a few things, started using the TM for Evolution more, and Iron Valiant couldn't hold the weight that he had carried initially. But yeah, that's where that's at. And then Roaring Moon, like I see all of these weird lists, but I'm still going with a deck that's probably like at least 50 of the 60 cards from what Mahone actually first stuck out there in kind of the very first Paradox Rift video that I saw anyway, where he actually like thumbed through a list. I'm sitting there slowing it down and figuring out every card that he was playing, and I gave him credit in my decklist video for Roaring Moon because it worked, and it still seems to work. None of the Darkrai or Moltres with Energy Switch, none of that stuff seems to help. The only thing that I've done to change it in any significant way is to add in a Brute Bonnet there as a good single prize attacking option, and also to help you hit the 230 number when it matters.
Yeah, I think I think that deck is really good. When I first saw it, I just saw the first attack, and I didn't even read the second attack. And then as I thought about it, I was like, it really gonna have trouble against single prize decks because you're doing too much damage to yourself. And then I saw it again. I was like, oh, there's a second attack. This thing is great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that second attack is good.
Yeah, it's good. You still end up in a number of awkward spots where you're like, oh, I'm gonna be, I want to KO this 120 HP thing or 150 HP thing. Why am I discarding a stadium to achieve that? But
does it have to be your stadium?
No.
Okay.
Thankfully. But wise opponents are, when they're in that spot, they're going to choose not to do a stadium, not to put a stadium into play. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. But the real thing that has me worried and has backed me off of Roaring Moon is Toadscruel. I just learned about that this weekend. There's a Toadscruel now coming out right alongside Roaring Moon that does not let you get anything out of the discard by supporter or item. Mm-hmm. So it's like say what?
Why does that stop Roaring Moon?
Well, because Roaring Moon, like part of the claim to fame is you pair it with Professor Osada's Vitality, the new supporter card that gets an energy out of the discard for up to 2 ancient Pokemon, and then attaches plus draws 3, and then additionally you use Dark Patch, right, to attach an energy there, and that's your like key to getting Roaring Moon going on like turn 1 if you're going second, or on your first, on turn 2 if you went first.
Toadscruel doesn't stop that though. Toadscruel is, I'm pretty sure, just to your hand, so you can still attach with
oh, really?
Yeah, I just looked it up.
Okay.
I think you're good.
Okay. Well,
but Chin Pao and gholdengo are in trouble with that. For decks that can fit it
Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I was all right. Well, that's at least a little better because I was like, you got the grass weakness going, and you've got this. No.
in. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, I really like Roaring Moon. When I first saw the set, I was just like, gholdengo. That's it. I don't really care about anything else. And
Yeah.
then you liking Iron Valiant got me onto that, and Roaring Moon as well. I think Roaring Moon is Iron Valiant is closer to like my favorite kind of deck where you're building up that damage and getting one shots. But Roaring Moon looks really good. It looks really really good. So
Yeah. So I think we kind of covered the good EXs that are coming out to make like their own archetypes. And that was my goal for today. So I think, unless you have anything to add, we can go ahead and wrap up for our first episode.
no, I mean, we can talk more about other stuff next episode, like smaller things. That are
Oh,
gonna be
definitely. And I want, like, we touched on some places where Iron Hands can get used and reasons for and against that. But I want to delve into that a little bit more thoroughly. You know, there's been the Twitter stream of Iron Hands can fit into everything. So I want to explore that just a little bit, at least, for next week. So we'll look forward to that and maybe delve into some other ways that existing decks can make use of the new set too. So that's what we'll leave you wanting more, because we'll get into that as much as we can next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Do you have any shout outs or anything you want to leave us with, Seagrove?
Shout out to one prizers evolving into two prizers. Makes the game better.
Oh my God, yes. Very much so. All right. With that, this has been Jeffrey, JGB146 Blake, and
Seagrove. Thanks for watching.
thanks for tuning in for the first episode of the Same60 podcast.